So here's your warning. Put those right there. And kudos to anybody who came with their mom, no matter what age. The fact that you came to something that's called I Guess Mom Was Right. Yay, you. So by the time I was born, my mom was 41 years old. She'd been married 7 times and been divorced 6 times. She also had 1 child out of wedlock, my brother, which, if you think about it, somebody married 7 times, when did she have time to have a child out of wedlock? I still don't know what that was about. She also, sadly, had a baby girl who was born premature and died after 24 days. Unfortunately, my mom had to bury that baby, whose name was Bettye Ellison, on Mother's Day, 1957. My mom quit high school at age 16. She worked odd jobs, including being a waitress and a hairdresser. She said she was the worst hairdresser in the world, by the way. And she's the one who cut my hair growing up. It took me a long time to find a boyfriend, I'm just saying. At one point, to make ends meet, Mom would buy cars in Missouri, drive them to California where she could sell them and make a profit. She would party for a while and then run out of money, take the train back to Missouri. She lived in California at the time of the Black Dahlia murder, and she even claimed to have hung out with Bugsy Malone. Let's just say my mom had life experience. While growing up, her live life to the fullest attitude continued, and along the way she became friends with the Manhattan. The drink, not the place. She would be the only adult who would dress up at the children's Halloween party in our neighborhood, even placing in the top 3 one year. To me, this was deserving of one of my well-rehearsed eye rolls. She lied about not having a high school diploma and became one of the first 10 women in real estate in the state of Indiana. That lie didn't get very far when she tried to get into nursing school, which had been a lifelong dream for her. So she went back to school and got her GED. Officially, she graduated from high school the same year I did. So apparently, this meant that she could walk at my graduation and receive her diploma with my high school graduating class. If I remember correctly, that idea was met with more than just an eye roll. And it didn't happen. There was a similar reaction from me when she asked me if she could walk me down the aisle at my wedding, since my dad had passed away. Of all of the 7 weddings, she never got a chance to walk down an aisle. I also said no. I regret that one. Growing up with my mom was frustrating because she had a lot of life stories to go along with the motherly advice she shared. When given the opportunity, she would go into one of her stories while trying to share a message that ended with, "Don't make the same mistakes I did," or "I learned that the hard way." At which point, I would typically do my famous eye roll and let out a sigh. Personally, I don't think it takes DNA or even the right chromosomes to make you a mom. Oprah Winfrey once said that biology is the least of what makes you a mother, and I agree with that. So with that belief and my own personal experience, I began researching this message. I came across a lot of topics with titles like, "Mothers are angels sent from heaven," and "Motherhood a sacred task." Obviously, those didn't feel right. My mom wasn't the perfect mother, and quite frankly, neither am I. I was having trouble coming up with the right words myself, so I was looking for someone else's words that would help me explain the complex mother-child relationship. I found this quote from Reese Witherspoon that I really related to. She said, "No one's really doing it perfectly. I just think you love your kids with your whole heart, and you do the best you can." As I started becoming more independent and living on my own, I found myself actually seeking Mom's advice. About saving money, she said, "Save at least 10% of what you earn, no matter what." Relationships, it's just as easy to love a rich one as it is a poor one. I guess you would know, right? And family. Family's not always blood. Eventually, I would seek her wisdom on car purchases. Don't be afraid to walk out the door during negotiations. And never, ever pay for floor mats. House cleaning. Use newspaper instead of paper towels to clean windows. School. Make sure you can type well so that you're always employable. Now, I know she meant I could be a secretary. That was always something to fall back on. But I tell you what, with computers, that was the best advice I could have gotten. Home purchases. Make sure your name is always on the mortgage. I think she was done on that one. Thinking back, my mom was right that senior high school boy who wanted to take me out when I was a freshman probably wasn't good for me. The college degree did give me more options. Pretty is as pretty does. Can't really never did do nothing. She was right when she told me I shouldn't care what other people think. I reached out to our faith community as well as my own friends on Facebook, and I asked them the words of wisdom that they felt their moms were right about. And here's a little bit of what I heard. You don't have to be rich to have class. Be kind to everyone, and go put some lipstick on if you look pale. When I didn't believe in myself, she'd say, don't say you can't. Say, I can do it. I will do it. And she said, always, always, always said, I love you. Just like measure twice, cut once. Mom was right about thinking twice and acting once. Be careful who you trust. They might not be who they say they are, even if you think you know them. If someone has hurt you before, they likely will again. If you can't say something nice about someone, don't say anything at all. The hurrier you go, the slower you'll be. One day, you're going to regret plucking your eyebrows so much. And this person said, and she was right. Only spend what you can afford. Don't make promises you can't keep. There's a benefit in power naps. No one else is going to be truer to you than yourself and the Lord. Everything in moderation for a balanced life. Work hard before you play hard. Stop your crying before I give you something to cry about. Don't do anything to embarrass the family or your mother. If this is the worst thing that ever happens, you'll be lucky. Don't go to bed mad at your spouse. You can't see a rose in a bud vase if there's a sock in the middle of the floor. I had never heard that one, but I really like it. That's not very ladylike. Don't grow old with your kids. Stay young with them. Eat dessert first. Don't want to take the chance that you get too full. Don't start your day on an empty stomach. Eat your veggies and put on a sweater. The words in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4 through 7, have been speaking to me about my love for my children and also represent the love I felt for and from my own mother. However, I have to say I can't stand here and tell you that I'm able to live up to these words all the time. It goes like this. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable. And it keeps no record of being wrong. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. As mothers, neither me or my mom have always been patient and kind. We've always been irritable at times, and both of us have definitely demanded our own way. Now, I talked to Pastor Nancy about this, and she shared that this is the ideal. This is the description of what God's love for us looks like. And that is honestly the closest love I can find to the love of a mother. The same goes for whoever mothered you and whoever you are mothering, despite the imperfections. But I will stand up here and tell you that what is true. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. I warned you, right? I don't remember if I ever said thank you to my mom for her advice and for her love, but I did do something at the end of her life that I know made her happy. By this time, she had been sober for 10 years. And although I had gotten over the eye roll stage, I still had some resentment when she wanted to start our relationship over again and make amends. She was in the hospital, and within hours, she would get a diagnosis of terminal cancer. And she'd move straight from the hospital to a nursing home and hospice. She'd never again return to her home that was her home for 40 years. They'd been doing tests all day, and we were sitting in the hospital room watching Oprah, waiting for them to take more blood or take her blood pressure or her temperature for the 300th time. We were laughing and talking because we both loved Oprah. We were both very sensitive, and the stories would make us connect over our laughter or our tears. After she received the diagnosis, I mailed a blank thinking of you card to Oprah. It had a letter that explained a little bit about my mom's crazy life, her current situation, and how despite our differences, Oprah's show brought Mom and I together. I think in my letter, I showed the appreciation for my mom in a way I couldn't do directly to my own mother. I sent it with a stamp, and the envelope was already addressed, asking her if she would sign it and send it back to my mom. I was hoping that would make it easier for her and I would actually get a response. A few weeks later, my mom received a small package with a signed card and an autographed picture of Oprah and the letter I'd sent. She was so excited. When people walked by her room in the nursing home, she would ask them to come in because she wanted to show them something. At first, I thought she wanted to show off the autographed picture of Oprah she had. But she really wanted to show that letter that her daughter had written. She made everybody read it. I used a lot more words, but in a way, all I said was, "You were right, Mom. Thank you, and I love you."